Well, good morning. Here's Brother Peter again. Hey, we're in the same setting again. This is our third time in this morning, and we're doing these little 10-minute excerpts. And sometimes I run rabbit trails, and sometimes they're good rabbits. They're the Lord's rabbits. And Brother Larry, one of my best co-workers and friends that I've ever had, one of the most stable, able guys I've ever known. For 20-something years, he's been the head of Warner leader in our church. Him and his wife, she's the secretary. They are two of the most precious people you'll ever meet. They're stable ables. You can count when the door. Matter of fact, you can count on Larry to open the doors. Not when the doors are open, but Larry's going to open the doors. Does he have work hours? I don't know. He's always there. When I get there, I never can beat him there. I don't care what time it is. He's there. And when it comes closing door time, he's still there. And when the last door closes, he's usually the one that closes it. So we've got some people in this world who have sold out to the Lord. And do you know, these folks right here, they probably get least recognition of almost any folks in the church. And one of these days, I tell you what, if the Lord was one of these days to give me some money, you know what I've always wanted to be, and well, I've always been it. Even though I've been a poor man, I've always been a philanthropist, if that's what you want to call it. I've always used my money for the Lord, and I've always liked to give a little money away. And if I could, I'd give these guys a world cruise. And but anyway, these little tracts that I have right here, the Lord has me put a little dollar bill in them. When I give one to I go through McDonald's and get a cup of coffee. By the way, I'm more convicted if I don't put a dollar in there than if I do. And I can put a dollar in there when I haven't got one to put in there and feel good. But anyway, if you put a dollar bill in a tract and give it to one of those young persons that works in these fast food places, you hadn't really done much. But I found out that these youngins, they don't listen. These big corporations, one of these days, are going to have to deal with God. And I would hate to be a head or be in one of these big corporations that treat help like these big corporations treat help today. Can you imagine working at a place like a McDonald's and coming out and with after a 2-week payday, and walk home with $140 to $180 after working 2 full weeks? Well, those McDonald's head people will say, well, we only work 30 hours a week, so they only work 60 hours for that money. But what they don't tell you is that on the slow time in the morning, they either have to sit at a table over there or they have to go home, which they can't afford to do. They live a long ways from McDonald's or a long ways from where they work, and they can't go home and come back, so they have to just sit there and wait or whatever. And then they're treated very rudely and very unhealthy and everything else. And by the way, they have to buy what they eat or drink. And these corporations are ruthless. They have ruthless rules, and they follow those rules. If they get caught eating French fry or something when they ain't supposed to, or get caught eating one without paying for it, they get fired or whatever. I mean, it's tough. And you wonder why you got to huff up and go back in there. You ordered a cheeseburger and you got a hamburger, or you ordered a bacon and egg biscuit and you got a sausage biscuit. But you got to remember, you're dealing with frustrated young people or frustrated old people. They're in there working hard. They're working under duress conditions. Sometimes have managers that don't have good scruples, don't have enough sense to know that you're working people, not machines. These people aren't computers, and we have a group of people out today that think people ought to work like computers. And they, my brother Larry, who's been teaching me how to run this computer, he said, Peter, you can't have compassion for this computer. And that's one of my problems is I've got compassion for everything. And I said, well, Larry, I don't want to work this thing to death. He said, don't worry about it. Just set that thing on go and press the button and leave it. It'll work all night while you're sleeping. It won't bother you a bit. It won't phase it a bit. It won't feel it. It won't have any problems doing that. So I can't have compassion on this computer as much as I'd like to. But I do have compassion for working people. I have compassion for people I see in there. And I understand that the majority of the people in there are like me. I have between a 5th and 8th grade education. And I treat just about everybody in the world like they have between a 5th and 8th grade education. Now, some of you people out there who know how to use this computer, you know how to go anywhere in it, you know how to do all kinds of things, you know how to compile information, you know how to do a lot of things. But you know what? Many of you have forgot the rudiments of education. And I'm going to tell you how I know that. Because I can go up to a cash register and they're having a problem with the cash register, and I can hand the girl a $10 bill and she's supposed to take $5.40 out of it. It'll take her a minute and a half to 2 minutes to figure out $5.40 to 10 what the difference is to give it back to me. And then she'll have to count it to herself 3 times to make sure it's right. And then she said, that is right, ain't it? And yeah, it's right. What happened? We have forgot the rudiments. She didn't have the rudiments. She's learned to let the cash register do the work. And she's forgot the rudiments. It's just like myself. I'm a paint contractor, and I go out and I figure a house like mine behind me. I walk around the house with a pad, a pencil, and a tape measure, and I figure that house, no calculator. And I have sons that go out and they calculate a house. But they and myself will come out pretty close to the exact same figures on painting that house or doing that house. Because I learned this, that I didn't learn the rudiments in school, so I've had to learn them since. So after I got saved at the age of 30, well, first thing I had to do, I had to learn how to read. You say, Brother Peter, at 30 years old you didn't know how to read. I absolutely did not know how to associate one word behind the other. The reason why is when I did get out of school, graduated in the 8th grade, I didn't use education. We're talking common sense this morning. We got a Bible sitting right here. We need to be in it, but common sense this morning, just common sense. Let's look at some things. I didn't do it. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I had a problem. Because I had a problem focusing, most of the teachers I had did not recognize that I had a problem focusing, and they thought I was a bad kid. So they snatched me by the ears and the hair and the shoulder and stood me in a corner and did all kinds of things to me that frustrated me even more. And I developed, at the young age of 8 or 9, I'd be looking at a book, and the teacher would ask me, read that, read that. Well, you know what I saw? I was so frustrated in my mind that I saw a blank page. I could look at the book, I couldn't see a word. And if I could see the words, they'd just be straight lines of black. I couldn't read one if I wanted to, because the frustration I had on me was so strong that it dulled my focus. It blinded my focus. I didn't have any focus. And in the 7th grade, I had a teacher. I remember her name was Miss Libby. I remember her because she was gentle, kind, nice to me. And she said, Peter, I see that underneath the problem that you have the intelligence and the ability to do this work. You just need some help to get you focused right. And you know, she helped me so much in the 7th grade that I was able to go into the 8th grade after 2 years in the 7th grade. And she kept me back, and she tutored me for a year, and she worked with me, and she showed me pointers that were good. Even then, I didn't learn verbs, adverbs, adjectives, pronouns, and all that kind of stuff, and I'm learning that now. But anyway, here we have been this morning talking plain talk for a while, and I guess these plain talk 10-minute plain talk things don't hurt anything every once in a while. So anyway, when I got to be 30, I had to learn how to read. So what it is, I had the Bible on record. I got the Bible on record. You can tell how old I am. I put it on, and I read along with it, and I learned how to read. And that's where I am today. I've been in the Bible now 40 years, learning how to read. Well, goodbye. We'll see you.